right. I got a couple questions for y'all. The first one, who is your Lord? What is your religion? Who is your prophet? Now, I know this sounds crazy, but if you're one of those people that have been trying to get information and you come across this, or even this. All right, take a listen.
Assalamu alaikum. I am Sister Lailanasheeba, the Managing Director and founder of Sunnahfollowers Online Islamic University. As you know, we have classes every day beginning at 6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And we cover everything from Aqidah, which is your belief system, to Seerah, which are the stories of the Prophet, Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam, the story of the companions. Please join us every day beginning at 6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And we are broadcasting and streaming live on Facebook, YouTube, LinkedIn, DLive, Trovo, and Twitch. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah.
What do you think of piercing at? Let's talk about it.
Wait a minute. Time for the Ask Sister Layla live show. Lines are now open. 862.
Any scores? Hey, wait. Is that the Adhan?
I think so, inshallah. Alhamdulillah, alhamdulillah.
Yeah, man.
Well,
gotta pray.
Yeah, we do gotta pray. We gotta pray. Let's get that in.
Yes, sir.
ASAP.
Ha ha!
I don't know what it is,
Akbar.
but what? You know, I've been listening to this program, Sunnahfollowers, and I've been learning a lot, Aki. Man, a lot.
Yeah, like what? What you been learning about?
Man, I've been learning about a lot. Salah, hadith, the life of the Prophet, sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Man.
Wow, for real though.
And you know another thing? The shows just keep coming on back to back.
Alhamdulillah. I just gotta check them out.
For real though.
Yo.
Wow. My God, if you have any questions, check this out. Every Friday, you can call in Sister Layla live. Call her with any one of your questions in regards to this deen, and man, she will answer them. She will get you right. Anyway, inshallah, I'm about to tune into that. But you know something else? If this is going to be a benefit to me, I got to get with that Sadaqah Jariyah.
All right. Donate to Sunnahfollowers.net. We're here for you. Sadaqah Jariyah. Assalamu alaikum.
Oh, okay. I'm sorry, guys. As you can see, I'm trying to set things up still. I apologize. Trying to get with the program. I'm feeling kind of melancholy today, which is good. It's good to have a melancholy feeling. I drank some of Dr. Asim's tea. Make sure you guys check out Dr. Asim's tea. because he's a scientist and he designed this tea to help relax you. It's great for anxiety. It's great for all of that type of stuff. And I drank 2 cups of his tea. I feel so mellow, so calm, so in control. It's a good feeling to finally not be so wired. Okay. So anyway, let's get started, inshallah. See, we got the people here. And I want to make sure that my moderators are all moderated up, because I'm also broadcasting I'm streaming simultaneously to so many different platforms. And I added that other platform back. And I want to make sure that they don't come in here and do what they did before. Let me keep this computer so I can see it. The chat. Okay, let me type this. Are they connected? They're connected. I just don't see that part. Okay, good. All right. In alhamdulillah wa salat wa salam ala wa rasulullah. Welcome to our class, which is our series of Aqidah, the belief system of the Muslim. Alhamdulillah. You know, saying that you're a Muslim is not enough. Allah tells us in the Quran, just because you profess to be Muslim is not enough. You have to prove it. Every day of our lives are spent proving that we truly do believe in Allah. How do we prove that we believe in Allah? Can anyone answer that question for me? How do we prove our belief in Allah? Because that's what we're supposed to be doing every day until we die. How do we prove that we believe in Allah? Anyone? This is a simple question. Very simple answers. But how many of us can answer a simple question about our religion? How do I prove that I believe in Allah?
I prove that I believe in Allah by doing as much as what Allah tell me to do as I can.
MashaAllah. Spoken by a true believer, inshallah. The believer proves that he or she believes in Allah by doing everything that Allah commands them to do without question, without hesitation. Okay? If Allah say it, do it. Don't ask why. Don't ask any of that other stuff. Allah say do it. If you're going to ask anything, say how. You don't say why. We say how. Allah says pray to me 5 times a day. You shouldn't say why. You should say how. And then you learn how to pray. And how do we learn to pray? Can anyone answer that? How do we learn to pray?
By following the hadith on the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, his sunnah, in regards to prayer.
Exactly, by praying the way the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam taught us to pray. Not Imam Malik, not Imam Shafi, not Imam Hannibal. We follow the way the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam taught us to pray, because that's what Imam Malik did. Y'all know who one of Imam Malik's teachers was? One of his teachers was a student of Aisha radiallahu anha. Her name was Asma. She was one of Aisha radiallahu anha's best students. When Imam Malik came to Medina seeking knowledge of the religion, they told him, go learn from her, because she learned directly from Aisha radiallahu anha. Okay? And Imam Malik learned how to pray from her. And Imam Malik raised his hands before and after bowing. He prayed the same way that the Prophet prayed. Okay? So, Allah makes the commands We don't ask why. If we're going to ask anything, we ask how. Okay? This is how we strengthen our allegiance to him and our allegiance to the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. And then our allegiance to each other will develop. But we've been speaking about how there are certain things that we do, certain actions that we have engaged upon as Muslims over the years, over the centuries. Remember, the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam said each generation of Muslims will become worse than the previous generation. We will become further and further and further away from practicing the true Islam. It'll become watered down. Okay? So, there's many things that we do that lead to that. And it all begins with and ends with that aqidah, our belief system, tawheed. Whenever we distance ourselves from Allah, distance ourselves from the Prophet, distance ourselves from each other, this is when our religion becomes twisted for us. We have misplaced allegiance. We have misplaced allegiance and misplaced, hold on, let me turn this off. Okay. Misplaced allegiance and misplaced other things. And we end up as we are today. We're just a carbon example of the non-believers. If you look at the average Muslim and put a non-believer next to it, here in America, you ain't gonna be able to tell the difference. They look alike, they talk alike, they walk alike, they dress alike. So that's what Allah meant when he said saying that you believe in Allah is not enough. You got to prove it through your actions, your behavior, your dress, your mannerisms, your character. As Muslims, we're supposed to have a whole separate identity from the non-believers. You put us together, not only do we not look alike, not only do we not behave the same, but we're different in character as well. We're different in mannerisms as well. The only thing that may be similar is our speech, because we speak different dialects of language in accordance to the different parts of the world. We may speak alike as far as our language, wording and stuff, but that's it. Okay, we've lost the Muslim identity over the centuries. We're not strong like we used to be. The Prophet and his companions were strong men and extremely strong women. Okay? The Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam and his companions, they didn't give in to the kafir. They didn't fear them. They didn't fear anyone but Allah. The Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam and his companions didn't run around asking people to pray for them either. They prayed for themselves. If they wanted anyone to pray for them, it would be the Prophet Muhammad, because he was a prophet of Allah. But they didn't run around saying, pray for me, Umar, pray for me, Abu Bakr, pray for me, everybody. They didn't do that. They all established their own relationship with their Lord, and they called upon their Lord in times of need, in times of goodness, in times of strife. We don't do that anymore. They weren't ashamed. The men weren't ashamed to wear beards. They wore their beards with dignity because they knew that their beard is what distinguished them from the non-believers. Muslim men today don't want to grow a beard. They're ashamed. They think they look like a terrorist. Well, the companions didn't have a problem looking like a terrorist. They grew their beards. and kept them beards well groomed too, to the point where the women loved them. Hello. Allah knows what a woman wants and what a woman likes. Just like Allah knows what a man wants and what a man likes. That's why Allah gives us laws and rules as women and men to live by and to die upon. Okay? They ate the way Allah commanded them to eat. And they didn't make this religion hard on others by saying everything is haram like you Muslims today do. You want to say everything's haram. They didn't do that. Because the reality is most things in our everyday life is lawful. It ain't that many haram things in our everyday life. Okay? They made this religion easy because they understood it was originally easy. But you have to learn it. Without learning this religion, this is how you become dumbfounded. This is how you become lost and everything else. So we've deviated away from being like those original companions were. And we've adopted the ideology, the mannerisms of the non-believers, which has led to us distancing ourselves from each other. And let's put the PowerPoint up on the screen, because this is what we've been speaking about in this chapter. Things that we have done as Muslims to distance ourselves from Allah, to distance ourselves from the Prophet, sallallahu alaihi wasallam, and in turn to distance ourselves from ourselves. And as a result, this is why we're faced with the war against Islam that the Prophet said would occur as a result. So let's take a look at some of those violations, and there will be a quiz after this. So pay attention. One of the things over the years that we have done is we have neglected to own up to our own problems. We've neglected to take personal responsibility for our actions. The Muslims today are quick to blame everyone. Even now, you want to blame America. You want to blame America for what's going on in the world today. America ain't to blame for nothing. You want to blame Israel. You want to blame the white man. You want to blame the troglodytes. When in reality, as Muslims, we are taught by Allah and his Prophet, sallallahu alaihi wasallam, that first of all, whatever happens is because Allah willed it, not Israel, not America, not the white man. They don't have that power. The power comes from Allah alone. Okay? And Allah teaches us after that, that whatever bad befalls you comes from Allah too. And Allah says, I send it to you as a result of what you brought on yourself. Shifting blame, failing to take responsibility for our actions, shifting the blame, failing to take responsibility for our decisions. This keeps us from growing as Muslims. And in turn, it keeps us from contributing positively to society. We're too busy pointing the finger at others. We have to understand, like the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam said, whenever you fail to obey Allah, whenever you fail to do what Allah says to do, there will be repercussions. So you can only blame yourself. Like I said, you look on the news and see all these Muslims, and by the way, they getting arrested. I heard they done arrested 200 plus Muslims in Brooklyn. I mean, this is ridiculous. This is why that protesting. that protesting is ridiculous. Let the non-Muslims do the protesting. That's what the prophet did. The prophet let the non-Muslims protest. And I gave you guys 2 examples yesterday. When the Quraysh boycotted the whole tribe of the Prophet Muhammad, the protesting was not, the other Muslims didn't protest. It was the non-believers that protested and helped bring an end to that. The same with Salama, when the Quraysh separated her from her husband and her son. For a whole year, she went to that mountain making dua, crying to Allah. It was the non-believers. The Muslims didn't protest. It was the non-believers that went to that Kaaba and stood up and started speaking out against how dreadful a thing it was that they was doing to her. Just like with the boycott, it was those non-Muslims, the other people of the Quraysh that went into the Kaaba. They would go to the Kaaba and stand up and speak out. That was protesting. Like I told y'all, people have always protested since the Romans. The Romans invented it. The Romans and the Greeks invented protesting. Protesting has always been done, but the Prophet Muhammad didn't do it because he was intelligent. He's more intelligent than people, these Muslims today. He knew that his people speaking out, we're the enemy. Like Allah says, they're never going to accept us. They're never going to care about us. They hate us. They'll band together and take us out. So the prophet was intelligent. He let the non-believers, their own people, do the protesting. Because when the enemy sees that they don't have the support of their own, that's what's going to make them step down and do some rethinking. When their own people, their own leaders are speaking out. So that's why the Muslims didn't protest. It's not because protesting didn't exist. Any historian will tell you it did. The Romans always protested. They invented it. That was part of the democracy that was invented by the Romans. Okay? But the prophet knew. He knew, let their people, if we show the behavior of Islam, their people will speak out against the atrocities that they are doing to us. The prophet taught, prove them wrong. Prove the lies that they say about us. They say we're terrorists. They say we're barbarians. They say that the women are oppressed. Prove them wrong by practicing true Islam. That was the prophet's thing. And their people, the people amongst them, will see the wickedness. And their people will speak out. So that's why he never protested. Well, we got Muslims all over the world protesting, and look what's on the news today. It's just crazy killing, murder, putting people in 200 arrested, hanging. What is this? Blowing up Starbucks? What is this? You American Muslims better get a clue. There's a lot of Muslims that own Starbucks restaurants. Starbucks is a franchise. Boycotting ain't hurting nobody but yourself. The prophet didn't boycott either because he knew boycotting would hurt him. Because the Jews had the food they needed to eat. Starbucks is not owned by Israel. It's a franchise owned by whoever pays the money for one. I know, because I was going to open up a coffee shop. And I was going to do Starbucks or Winans. But I ended up not having the money because I retired. It's a franchise. And whoever gets that's their shop. That's their money you're taking from. So you uneducated American Muslims going around destroying Starbucks. Like you making a difference. Israel sitting back laughing at how ignorant you are, that you don't know how economics work. You don't know what a franchise is. Are you crazy? And like some of these Muslims are saying, this is my store. You just tore down my store. It's a franchise. Are you people crazy? Yes, you are. And this is why Allah has brought the war, to cleanse the earth of ignorant people, to cleanse the earth of hypocrites, to cleanse the earth of unbelievers, and to show us who the true believers are. And you Muslims carrying on like that, you got issues. You're not helping nobody in Palestine or nowhere else. You just showing that you are what the non-Muslims say. You're ignorant, you're uneducated, and you're a barbarian. That's what you are. Sorry, Charlie. You're too emotionally attached. That's another thing. The Prophet Muhammad said that our weakness is our emotions. He said that the Christians will always have the upper hand over us because their emotions are more controlled. We get angry. We get emotional. We want to kill. We want to tear down, destroy. We don't think. We're too attached. That's another reason why the prophet didn't do any protesting. Because he knew we're too attached. Those are your relatives in Mecca. Those are your relatives in Yemen. Those are your relatives in Abyssinia. You're too emotionally attached to the situation. Step back. Step back. Let the non-believers protest. Let those rabbis protest like they're doing because they hate Zionism. They hate how those Jews that were born Jews, but they don't practice, make them look bad. You're too emotionally deranged, so you're going to tear down your Muslim brother's Starbucks store because you're too stupid to know that Israel don't own his store. His store is owned by him. He paid his money for. That's his family's food. Let the rabbis protest. Let the non-Muslims protest. Let the unions protest like they're doing because they're not emotionally attached like you Muslims are. You're too attached. And those of you that's doing all the violence ain't even wearing hijabs. So that tell you that you're Muslims who don't even have prayer. Remember the prophet. And I want y'all to pay attention to me. The Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam said the weapon of the believer is the prayer. Allah does not accept your prayers if you ain't covering up. Allah does not accept any of your good deeds if you are deliberately, intentionally disobeying him. And you Muslims that's on TV tearing down other people's stores and stuff, protesting, you ain't even dressed properly. You ain't even got the supplication of Allah on you. Go home. Go home. You're causing more harm than good. Go home and go learn your religion. Don't nobody need that. Don't nobody need you. You ain't doing nothing to benefit none of us. You're ignorant. Y'all see the dangers of protesting. Turn on the news today and you see it. Man standing outside holding up his little Starbucks cup. They did this to my store. He said, I'm Muslim, this is my store. I bought this store. Holding up his little Starbucks cup. They think they destroying Israel. You know, you destroy the Muslims' livelihood. Boycotting brings no good to you unless the entire earth, this is how intelligent the prophet was, unless the entire earth decided that there's no need for Starbucks and the countries governments decide, I'm not going to give $7 million a year to Israel for Starbucks, you ain't doing no damage. You ain't doing nothing except showing you're ignorant. And the Zionists sit back laughing. I'm laughing at you too. Don't even know what a franchise is. I guess it's a good thing I didn't open up a Starbucks store. I guess it might be burnt down too. Lord have a mercy. So again, as Muslims, the blame is on us. We have to stop blaming everyone else. We've gotten here because we failed to educate ourselves about our religion. Like we talked about yesterday, our priorities have been this dunya. It's all about getting that college degree. It's all about making that money. We took the emphasis off of learning Islam and replaced it with psychology, learning that and all of that. That's why we're here. So, neglecting personal responsibility, refusing to take ownership of our actions. This is how we have distanced ourselves from our religion, distanced ourselves from Allah and each other. Also, another reason as to why we've gotten here is our intolerance. Just like those Muslims that they're showing on TV now, who done tore down the Starbucks and all this dumb stuff that's going on, Brooklyn Bridge, something about the Brooklyn Bridge too. I didn't read it. I turned the TV off. But they're intolerant. Our intolerance of others. First of all, our ignorance brought us here. And then not only are we ignorant of life, but our intolerance of others is another reason as to how we've gotten here. Whenever we display intolerance towards different opinions or perspectives, or we have an intolerance towards other cultures, this prevents us from having understanding of others. This prevents us from cooperating with others. And this is why we're here. You're intolerant of another person's culture. You're intolerant that a person may have a different opinion of you, a different view about something from you. We have to embrace tolerance and respect diversity. And this is the number one problem with Muslims around the world. We don't respect other cultures. We're racist. We've reverted back to racism. We've reverted back to tribalism. We've reverted back to nationalism. Okay? The prophet said that would happen. Hard as he fought against that, he united the companions. They were united under the banner, the flag of Islam. He said, but the day will come when you will raise up different flags again. And it's happening. You don't even want to pray shoulder to shoulder because that brother next to you is African American. That sister right there is from China. That sister there is Indian. Unless it's an Arab next to you, you don't want to pray. Or unless it's a Caucasian next to you, you don't want to pray. That's where we've become today. It's all about being Arabic or Caucasian. If you ain't an Arab or a Caucasian, nobody wants to deal with you. This is a problem. Islam teaches us to embrace diversity because when you do it, it leads to a harmonious community. The Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam and the companions were very diverse. Bilal's father was Arabic, but his mother was African. Subhanallah, diversity. Salman al-Farsi was Persian. Safia, the wife of the prophet, was Jewish. Our diversity is our strength, but Muslims don't see that today. And this is why we've come to where we are. Also, this is another big one. Neglecting family responsibilities. Most of us have fitna within the families. When we neglect our obligations towards our family members, such as failing to provide emotional support to them, such as neglecting your duty as a husband. Look how many Muslim men refuse to provide and maintain their families. This is a problem in America, especially in the African American community. I'm going to call it out. In the African American community, this is a big problem. The Muslim men are supposed to be the providers, the maintainers, and supporters over the women. But for whatever reasons, they blame it on the white man. They blame it on slavery. Whatever the reasons, they don't do their job. The women are either living on welfare or the women got to go out and get jobs and take care of the family while he has 2, 3, 4 wives. This is a big problem. We disregard our duties and we also disregard the rights of our spouses. You sisters, y'all want to be, because this society has you where you working, because you working and bringing in the money, you think that you don't owe your husband his homage. I don't care if you work or not. That's your choice. Your husband is your imam. Your husband is supposed to be obeyed. You're not supposed to run the family. He is. But here in America, especially amongst African American families, it's the woman that runs everything. They don't listen to their husband. Their husband have no power, no control over them, many of them. Okay? He can't tell me what to do. I wish he would. And then they'll talk about you because you a good wife, because you do obey your husband. So again, this is another reason why we're here. We have neglected over the years our family responsibilities. We've neglected over the year the rights of our family members. And we've traded roles. The roles have traded between men and women. When we embrace family values and when we fulfill our responsibilities towards each other, this is how we grow as a nation. When we nurture strong family bonds, when we develop that love and uphold the rights of one another, this is how we contribute to the well-being of the family and the stability of our Muslim community. But in America, I can talk about America. We don't deviate away from that. That's why we have a high apostasy rate. A lot of kids, we raise a Muslim and our kids grow up and don't practice the deen. Because we got it twisted here. We got the roles reversed, the roles twisted. The children that do come out are the ones that come from a 2-parent family. This is a fact. The children that do hold on to the deen, statistics shows, are the ones that come from a 2-parent family who stayed together and raised them Muslim, and the woman was at home with the kids, not out in the street working. The roles weren't reversed. The husband took care of the family. The wife took care of the needs of the family. Those are the ones that end up, having successful Muslim children. But for those of us from these broken homes, where the woman had to go out and get a job and work, look at this. Our children don't grow up in practice because we weren't there as women to raise them, to culture them, to keep them guided on the right path. We pay the price. Like the prophet said, there's repercussions. Whatever choices we make in this world come with repercussions. Some good, some bad. Okay? Also, arrogance and superiority. Another reason as to why we are here where we are today. Whenever you adopt an arrogant attitude towards others, or you think you're better than others, based on personal achievements, based on knowledge, or even race. How many of you were told? I got a lot of new shahadas here. The first thing that they were told after converting Islam is that in order to get to paradise, you got to learn Arabic, because Arabic is the language of paradise. There's nothing that says that. And then they said, if you're born Arab, alhamdulillah, you will be in paradise, because Arabs are the most superior people on earth, because the Quran was sent down the air. All this racial garbage. That's arrogance. That's superiority. The Prophet Muhammad fought against that. He said the Arab is not better than a non-Arab. The black man is not better than the white man. Allah could care less about that. You want to get a good relationship with Allah, it's about your fear of Him, your consciousness of Him, and your love for Him. Not this garbage. Well, this is what we're into. Like I said, here in America, unless you're Caucasian or an Arab, the Muslims ain't going to deal with you. Seriously. They don't even want to learn from you. Oh, she's not Arabic. He doesn't speak Arabic. He's black. Oh, no. But let a Caucasian come in who used to be a minister, let a white man who converted to Islam say he's a sheikh, y'all will follow him. Oh, he's a white man. And oh, yeah, y'all listen to him. But you won't listen to a black man or anybody else that's not Arabic or white. That's a fact here in America. That's a fact. Y'all know I'm telling the truth. So this arrogance and superiority attitude is how we've gotten here. Were we to show some humility, this is what allows us to recognize our self-worth and also the dignity and self-worth of everyone else. By practicing humility, this is how we create an atmosphere of respect and unity. But we've deviated away from that. We've deviated away from that over the years. We've gone back to the racism, tribalism, nationalism that the Prophet fought so hard to do away with. Okay? Also, when we neglect spiritual growth, how do we neglect spiritual growth? When we neglect learning our religion, everything begins with that. When we fail to grow spiritually, we fail to deepen our connection with Allah. This is when we become to where we are today. You have to seek knowledge of the religion, guys. You have to be able to do away with your old habits and in turn replace them with new habits. The Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam told us that the believer is one who holds himself accountable both before doing an action and after doing it. How many of us do that? We're supposed to reflect upon our prayers. Did I do them sincerely for the sake of Allah? Did I follow the sunnah of the Prophet when doing that prayer? We're supposed to sit down and take good long looks at ourselves. Look at your heart. Has my heart been purified from last Ramadan to this Ramadan? Am I a better Muslim this Ramadan than I was last Ramadan? Ramadan is the month of change. I've always told my students, there's no such thing as an Islamic New Year. There is no such thing as an Islamic New Year. And I repeat again, there's no such thing as an Islamic New Year. If there would have been a new year, the new year would have been the month of Ramadan. Because for us Muslims, Ramadan is the month of self-reflection. Ramadan is the month of change. Ramadan, if you live to see it, is also another one, is a month of forgiveness. That's when we sit down during that month. We contemplate ourselves. We contemplate our relationship with Allah. We compare this Ramadan to last Ramadan to see if there's any growth. We don't do that anymore. A lot of these women who you see on TV and men doing all this protesting, and they're tearing down Starbucks now too. By the way, let me get a sip. Hello, hit it, Layla. Got my Starbucks. Got my sip. What you gonna say? Hello? Well, these women and men that's on TV getting arrested, tearing down Starbucks, they fast when Ramadan come around. Do they know that their fast is not accepted because they don't have a hijab on? I can tell you that. The Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam said, whenever a person deliberately, intentionally disobeys Allah, none of his good deeds are accepted until he repents. Hadith, source, Bukhari, Muslim. So yeah, you fast during Ramadan, but you're just starving yourself. You're just starving yourself because you're still in disobedience to Allah. You're letting the world know that something's wrong with your belief because you know it's a command from Allah to cover your body when you leave the house. You sitting there looking like not even Cardi B because you ain't cute enough to be Cardi B. Okay? But you protesting for Palestine when your outward appearance shows that you're protesting against the law. Have you women thought about that? Let me bring it home. You sisters that they showing on TV doing all that protesting and you ain't got no hijab on and you tearing down Starbucks people's restaurants, those Muslims there who own Starbucks because they franchise like I was going to do. You're showing us, the rest of the world, that your protest is not against Palestine. It's against Allah. Because where's your hijab? Where's your abaya? What are you doing holding hands, marching, holding hands with a bunch of men who are not mahrams to you? So your protest is personal. Your protest is against the law. So you need to go sit down somewhere. The Zionists see this because the Zionists know your religion better than you do. And they sit back laughing. What an idiot. Let the Muslims attack each other. That's why I tell y'all, go home. Let the non-Muslims protest like the Prophet did because they got better control of their emotions. And they don't look stupid like you do with no hijab on, holding hands with a bunch of men that ain't no mahram to you. It's sad. So, personal growth. The Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam told us to dedicate our time to worship, to reflect, to dedicate ourselves to self-improvement. He said by doing these things, we become better equipped to make a positive impact on society and also a positive impact on ourselves. So, Bara, we have been distancing ourselves from Allah, from his prophet, from his religion, sallallahu alaihi wasallam, and each other over the years. And again, the prophet warned, he said, whenever this occurs, this when you can expect war. He told the companions, if you live to see the Muslims deviate away from La ilaha illallah, Muhammadur Rasulullah, should you live to see them take fatwa over my sunnah, should you live to see homosexuality in abundance, fornication, adultery in abundance, where should you live to see the day when the people of the truth will be looked upon as people of falsehood, and the people of falsehood as truth? No, that's when Allah will send his war. He said it. Hello. There it is. So let's see how well you guys understood this. I got a quiz for you. Everybody pay attention. Here's a scenario that many of you can relate to. Amatullah, she does not pray, nor does she fast, nor does she dress in accordance to the religion of Islam. And if you ask her why, she will blame it on the oppressive men of her country, her culture. She'll say it's because of what the men have done to us, how the men has stripped us of our rights. This is why I'm not going to wear a hijab. This is why I'm not going to fast, because Allah knows what's in my heart. This is an example of Bara, which resulted from which of the following two things? Is it intolerance of others? Is it because of a neglect of personal responsibility? Or is it a neglect of family responsibility? Or is it a neglect of spiritual growth? Or is it a result of arrogance? Two of these answers best describes Amatullah. Which two do you think it is?
I think definitely neglect of personal responsibility. She's responsible for herself, and it don't make no difference what nobody else is doing. And I'm not sure, maybe intolerance. I'm not sure, but I'm sure that first one I said.
Everybody agree with that first answer she gave? Is this a neglect of personal responsibility? Y'all agree with that?
Yes, I agree.
Good job. Yeah, she blamed. How many of you, and I use this because how many of you people know sisters like this? How many of you sisters know women like this? I do. They come in my website. Amina got it right because she's here. She's in the Zoom room. She hears this type of crap all the time. They want to blame it on the men in their country. Blame it on society. That's why I don't cover up. That's why I don't pray. There's also another one here that can go, that she falls victim of. Is it intolerance, neglect of family, neglect of spiritual growth, or arrogance?
I say a neglect of spiritual growth, because if she would know that, you're fasting for Allah and not for anyone else, and that the oppression is not blamed on Islam, the oppression of men is not blamed on Islam. If she knew those things, then she wouldn't do those things. She wouldn't.
Good job. Exactly. Good job. That's the second one. This sister has reached this level because she distanced herself from accepting responsibility for her own actions. And also by not accepting responsibilities for her own action, she failed to grow spiritually. And how many of us does this happen to? This happens to so many of us. I have a relative. I have a very close relative that was raised Muslim. knows how to speak Arabic. You know, we have Arabic in my family anyway. Oh, I just told y'all, a family member. I got a family member. Ain't practicing at all. Won't wear hijab, nothing. And then she wasn't raised that way. She was raised to be upon siratul mustaqim. Hello. And you ask her why. She can blame everybody except herself. Oh, my mother was hard on me. Oh, my grandmother was strict on me. My father died. My father was in jail. Everything except you chose this. And because you chose to go these years without doing what you're supposed to do, you've neglected yourself spiritually. And since you've neglected yourself spiritually, I tell her, look at you, you've become just like the enemy. That's what I tell her. You become just like the enemy by you neglecting yourself spiritually and by you blaming everybody for why you chose to not do what you know you're supposed to do. Look at you. And if the war breaks out, where will you be? She will be on the side fighting against me. I tell her that. You will be on the opposite side of me. And I'm like Abu Bakr. I don't care if you was my daughter. I see you. Hello. The enemy is the enemy. Y'all understand that? That's why I put this here. So you young girls out there who are not covering up, y'all got to stop blaming your family. You got to stop blaming on your mother was strict. She was a dyer. So what? The fact your mama was a dyer mean you better get it together. You know, you better get it together because you will be the enemy. Hello. Take a shot. And I ain't talking a screenshot. Stop blaming people, guys. It's time to change. Change the condition of yourself. All that protesting, looking like idiots, getting arrested, tearing down people's stores, oppressing other people that ain't even fighting against you. That's another reason why the prophet didn't do that type of dumb stuff. There's rules. Even in warfare, there are rules even in warfare. Did y'all know that? We cannot destroy churches. We cannot tear down the trees. We cannot tear down buildings in war. There's rules. Allah got rules. So those Muslims in New York that's tearing down Starbucks and acting like heathens, you know, you done violated all the laws. You, first of all, you oppressing people that are not actively engaged in fighting you, number one. In fact, you ain't fighting nobody except the law. You fighting against the law because you refuse to cover up and you refuse to pray. You refuse to grow a beard. That's who your problem is with, Allah. You ain't fooling nobody but yourself. Okay? But there's rules and guidelines to war. We don't go around hurting, oppressing innocent people. We don't go around tearing down trees, tearing down coffee shops, tearing down people's establishments where they make their money with your ignorant selves and don't know what a franchise is. We are just stupid. I can't get that franchise out my head. Girl, Latifah. Muslims. And no hijab on. It's all about Allah. Hey. I got a relative that's protesting. Can't y'all tell I got a relative that's protesting? No hijab. Oh, that's sick. All right, next question. Yeah, I got a relative out there. One of my relatives is amongst them. Oh, yeah. All right, next question. Here's another scenario. Amatullah has not studied her religion as she should have, because she believes that unless a person speaks Arabic or is Arabic, they do not know the religion and refuses to take from them. This is Bara, resulting from which of the following? Intolerance, neglect of personal responsibility, neglect of family responsibility, neglect of spiritual growth, or arrogance. Which one do y'all think this one is?
Arrogance.
Okay, somebody said arrogance. Do y'all agree with that? Amatullah has not studied her religion because she believes that unless the person teaching speaks Arabic or is an Arab, they don't know the religion. So I don't know any Arabs, so I ain't gonna study. Is this intolerance, or is it neglect of personal responsibility? Is it neglect of family responsibility? Neglect of spiritual growth, or arrogance?
Arrogant.
Okay, everybody agree with them? Okay, what does it mean to be arrogant? I want y'all to look up the meaning of arrogant. What does arrogance mean? An arrogant person believes what about themselves?
They better than everybody else.
Okay,
they
so
better than everybody else. So she think the Arab is better. So she ain't taking from nobody but the Arab.
Okay,
that's why
listen.
I said what I said.
Yes, the arrogant person thinks that he or she is better than everybody else. Oh, and maybe I should tell y'all, Amatullah is not Arabic. I should have put that in there. Amatullah is not Arabic. Amatullah is let's say she's African American. Amatullah has not studied her religion because she believes that unless a person speaks Arabic or is an Arab, they don't know the religion, and she don't know any Arabs to learn from. Does that change what y'all think the answer is now?
Yeah, change it for me. I'll say personal growth, spiritual growth. She need to learn her religion.
Okay, do y'all agree with that? This is Bara resulting from neglect of spiritual growth. Of course, all these answers are neglect of spiritual growth.
Neglect of personal responsibility. She needs to take responsibility. That's my thought.
What, anybody else?
I would say intolerant.
Mashallah. What does the word intolerance mean? The correct answer is intolerance. I want y'all to look up Norto, read the meaning of intolerance. I want them to remember this word, because this is the number one reason why we have fallen apart in America. This is another number one reason why American Muslims are not united, because we have no tolerance. What does intolerance mean? Can anybody look it up and tell us?
This means that a person's unwillingness to accept the views, beliefs, or behavior that differ from their own.
There you go. This is intolerance. And this is a big problem amongst the Muslim communities here. You know, you can't tolerate the fact that African Americans are loud. Let's use that as an example. What's the number one thing they say about African Americans, guys, especially the women? That we're loud
and angry all the time.
And angry all the time. African American women are not loud and angry. African American women are just passionate. That's their culture. They are passionate people, especially depending on what part of America you come from, because some parts have more passion than the other. But you want to accuse African American women of being angry and loud because they're passionate? That's their culture. That's cultural. Their parents were loud. Okay? That's an example. So you don't like African Americans. You don't want to learn from an African American because they're loud. The women are loud. Or the men got kinky hair. You don't like the fact that their beards are kinky. I've heard that. I've heard that from some sisters, my Arabic sisters. I've heard them say, ooh, do you see the beard? Can you imagine? Those beards are probably rough and cut your fingers. Oh my God, you're intolerant. You're ignorant. Intolerance. How many of you have heard, oh, don't bring no Pakistanis around me. They smell like curry. Y'all hear that? Don't buy no clothes from her. That's from Pakistan. Everything she sells smells like curry and spices. Oh, they stink up the mosque. We're very intolerant here in America as Muslims. Very intolerant towards each other. You know, so this is an example. So because Amatullah believes that only an Arabic speaking person could understand the religion, she won't go to the mosque to learn from the African American sister. She won't go to the mosque and take Quran classes with the Pakistani sister. This is intolerance. This is intolerance. And because of her intolerance, it leads to a neglect of spiritual growth. Just like arrogance leads to a neglect of spiritual growth. And just like they all lead to a neglect of personal responsibility. Y'all see that? Big problem. Here's another one. Now we turn it around this way. Amatullah is Arabic. She is an Arab. And she believes that non-Arabs are less sincere in the religion. This is a result from which? Bara intolerance, neglect of personal responsibility, neglect of family responsibility, neglect of spiritual growth, or is this arrogance?
This is arrogance.
Exactly. This is arrogance. These are the people that'll tell you that Arabic is the language of paradise, and they don't even pray. These are the people that'll tell you that as long as you were born Arab, you ain't got to pray. The simple fact that you're an Arab means you're going to be in paradise anyway. This is arrogance, superiority. Because I'm Caucasian, I'm better than you. Because my skin is whiter than yours, I'm better than you. This is arrogance. American Muslims suffer with all of this. America will always be the most racist country in the world. Even the people that live here are racist. Yeah. This is how we become as a nation. While we're on TV without a hijab on, but flags around us tearing down Starbucks like some idiot I know. All right. I think I got one more question. Let's see. Oh, that was it. That was the last one. So, mashallah, I want you guys to understand the way I'm teaching this class. Allah, you know, is the best of planners. You know, I didn't know that this war would happen when Sheikh Kareem Abu Zaid put this book out. I was waiting for it because it's the second of the trilogy of Tawheed. That's my specialty. My specialty is Aqidah and Hadith. Aqidah and Hadith, my specialty. So I was waiting on this book, but I didn't know, just like he didn't know, that when this book was published, this war would break off. But alhamdulillah, the good thing is that, alhamdulillah, this book is giving us the means to take a good, long, hard look at ourselves and see how we have been a cause and how we can change ourselves. Because like the prophet said, can't nothing stop the qadr of Allah. This is going to happen. It's going to play out. This is just the beginning of what will lead to the end. But the prophet told us we can't stop the hands of time. But you can fortify yourself with your iman, your faith, fortify your belief system. And that way you'll be able to handle it better and come out successful, either in life or death, because we're all going to die. Y'all understand that? Nobody's going to escape death. Death will come to all of us eventually. But should you die during this, at least you'll die in good standing with Allah. You'll be able to be like those Palestinians over there, like that man whose video I was just watching. A rocket came down on his apartment. Both of his sons were killed. But he didn't panic. He sat there and gave the press a nice response. He said, Inshallah, they had a good ending. Inshallah, they are amongst the prophet who they loved and lived honoring. He said, it'll be me next probably. And I hope to go like that too and be amongst my prophet who I lived honoring. Can we say that? You women out there protesting, tearing down a Starbucks restaurant in your city because that's owned by a Muslim, by the way. Yeah, it was a Muslim that owned it. He was holding this little cup. Did my company, did my business tore that man's store down? Okay? And called him a kafir too. And then you ain't got no hijab on. If that rocket, when those rockets come down on you, because it's going to come here too. When that rocket come on your building, will you be like that man, be able to get up and say, a good ending, in Allahi, in Alay Rajun, they live their life honoring. He said, my sons live their life honoring the Prophet Muhammad. Can you say you honored him? No. You didn't even wear a hijab. Who did you honor? So the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam said, fortify ourselves. And that's what I'm trying to do. I'm taking this book and all my classes here, trying to give you guys the ammunition that you need to strengthen your iman, so you can be strong like those Muslims over there who don't need your help. They don't need nothing from us. We ain't on their level. They don't even need your dua because they got their duas going straight to Allah. Do you think Allah is going to listen to the dua of a woman that don't wear hijab and refuse to wear one over them? Are you kidding? Get real, Muslims. So I'm hoping y'all to take all this information and apply it to yourself, change the condition of yourself now, start practicing this religion as you should have been doing all along, like they have been doing, so that when it comes to us, because it's going to come, you can have the resilience, you can have the faith and the heart that they have. They are not panicking and acting ignorant like you Muslims are here. All right, I'm going to stop right here. Subhanakallahumma.
Excuse me, can I say something?
Yeah, go ahead.
I saw, the building, one of the buildings that had been bombed, and I saw the half of it falling, and you could hear it was children inside, and as the top of the building started falling to the ground, I heard them saying, and you can tell it was a children's voice. They were saying, Allahu Akbar, Allahu Akbar. They were young children.
Yeah, like
and I thought, wow.
These people are Muslim. They're believers, inshallah. Their faith is strong. Allah says, the Prophet said, the people that will be tested with the worst trials, the worst calamities are those strongest in faith. Right now, the worst trial is coming to that part of the world. So that means that's where your believers are. That's where your strong believers are. They can handle it. That's why I'm telling y'all, they don't need nothing from you. They don't need your money because they get money. They don't need your dua They got their own dual connection. They don't need nothing from you. What the rest of the Muslims need to do is sit back and learn from them. The rest of the Muslims in the world need to sit down, go home, learn the deen and learn from these people. Stop all that nonsense, that imitation of the kafir that they've been doing, protesting and acting ignorant, because you're not helping nobody. You're just making it come closer and closer to you, to those bombs hitting you. That's all you're doing. You're just speeding it up, where the bomb is going to hit you in Europe. The bomb is going to hit you here in America. That's all you're doing with your retardedness, tearing down buildings. That's one of the laws of warfare, guys. We can't tear down buildings, tear down trees. We can't do that like y'all doing. All right? And churches and synagogues. Yeah. All right, guys, I'm going to stop right here. The next class will be at 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. It'll be the lawful and the unlawful. We're going to continue discussing interests. And also, I'm going to give you a quiz in that class, too. So come here prepared. There will be a quiz at the end of that lecture. So, inshallah, I'll log back on at 9, and please support this dawah effort. If you guys enjoy coming here to learn your religion, it is truthfulness with the proper understanding. Please support this dawah effort. Scan the QR code up there, because it's almost the first. On the 1st, that's when they're going to take out a whole lot of charges for our streaming system. This is $300. And I saw Wix came out today. What was it? And Canva and Wix came out today. So for the brothers and sisters that donated yesterday, may Allah bless you. Because of your donations yesterday, that's how the Wix was paid for, which is our server, and also Canva. Canva is the program I use to make the videos. So you guys paid for that. Alhamdulillah. So I'm going to close out for now. Subhanakallahumma wa bihamdika ashhadu an la ilaha illa anta